Obviously, there's more to this, but it's the crux of the issue. This shit is weird, and I can't figure out who else to talk about it to. My wife and I have been married for 6 months. I met her after I had gotten out of a long-term relationship, 4 years, with my ex. Ex and I stayed friends for a few months after our breakup, until I met wife. Our friendship fizzled. After almost 2 years of being in a relationship, wife and I got married. Around 3 months after we got married, wife and I attended a party where we ran into ex. I had not seen ex in over a year, so we spent some time catching up and I introduced her to wife. Wife seemed to be very taken by ex. When leaving the party, she remarked how different she was from ex. Wife starts following ex on social media. Over the next few weeks, wife starts explicitly copying ex. She starts dressing like her and starts trying to pick up some of her hobbies. For example, ex surfs and does art. Wife starts trying to surf, out of nowhere, and starts painting, doing yoga, etc. She is wearing similar clothes to ex. She becomes a vegetarian like ex. She keeps trying to invite ex over for dinner. I notice this weird shit, but I don't say anything. The straw that broke the camel's back was when my wife cut her hair into a style similar to my ex. It was at this point that I asked her what the hell was going on. I told her that I noticed that she was copying my ex and I thought that it was weird as fuck. She got very defensive and started asking me pointed questions about my ex, mainly suspecting me of being more into her. I tried to explain to her that ex broke up with me years ago and I had gotten over her. She and I are married, and this shit that she's doing is weird. She responds, but you found this style attractive when you guys were together. And I said it was actually attractive when she did it, because she's being herself. She says, so you think she's more attractive? And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I do. We got into a huge fight. I ended up having to leave for the night, and am staying at a buddy's house until we have time to talk. He thinks I fucked up here. And as I think about it, I can't figure out who is in the wrong. So AITA here, or is my wife? So, it's a long story, sorry for any mistakes. Iman Mogul. Me and my ex, let's call him John, broke up about 2 years ago. We were in the same friends group, though over time more friends have sided with me, as he rarely socializes, so, the official version was, we broke up amicably. However, in reality, that relationship scarred me deeply. Long story short, I was gaslit, dismissed, my comfort was often ignored and, to this day, I struggle showing affection and having a normal sex life. I lost it with him and it was not pretty. After he attempted to win me back and was rejected, he spent an hour verbally abusing me and quit our contact altogether. Haven't heard from him in a year until this month. Cut to now and I am dating Mike, a friend of ours. He is the sweetest guy, loves me and I love him as well. We have always been close. He had a crush on me a while back, but since I was dating John he never made a move. And, of course, he soon noticed some attitudes of mine were off. Like, I was so accustomed to cry after sex I straight up warned him it will happen and was in awe when it never did. I disliked the expensive presents he gives me because John often gave them in order to bribe me to have sex or not ask for any romantic attention. I was surprised he told his friends and family we were dating immediately because it took John 5 months and me threatening to break up with him to even knowledge he had a girlfriend, let alone that the girl in question was me. Of course, he asked me what kind of relationship I had before, since John always portrayed us as the best happiest couple ever. After thinking about it, I decided to tell him the truth, so he knows how to deal with me when I am not okay. He was in shock and told me he wanted nothing to do with John, even though I asked him not to. It's a thing between us, but I am tired to keep up this lie when I know for a fact John told some people that I was the bad guy in this situation. And now comes the fun part. Since they study in the same university, they see each other often, and it seems like John saw me and Mike together in public. Afterwards, when Mike was alone, John approached him and began poking fun at him dating me, low-key saying you are dating a crazy bitch. To which Mike promptly said that it was not his fucking business and he should keep his mouth shut after everything he did. So now John is pissed as hell, texted me how I am a bad person because I told him lies, everything is true, and that it's not my place to tell this story. And I feel horrible. I feel like I shouldn't have told Mike anything and just kept it to myself. I didn't want to destroy whatever friendship they had. But, on the other hand, I think he deserves to know everything in order to understand me. So, AITA for telling my BF the truth? I know people will ask, so first of all, no, I didn't ask and I didn't want to know. He said it out of the blue. He was really drunk. I'm looking for actionable advice from people who have gotten past something similar. He's made it pretty clear that there's not much I can do to compare. While drunk, he shared some dreamy details that are hard for me to forget, but insists that he loves me and doesn't, actually, see why this is hard for me. We fought about it a few times since with no resolution. We're not having very much sex now because of his depression. He's seeking treatment for that already. If any other information can help you give advice, just let me know. My boyfriend and I have been seeing each other for a little over a year and couldn't be more in love. We just moved in together. Our relationship had been fairly conflict-free except for this one tiny insecurity. He was head over heels for an ex-long-term girlfriend before we started dating. He and I had met months prior to dating, and the whole time leading up to it he was always trying to find ways to get her back. Then we both just decide to hang out with one another instead of being sad and lonely. Everything is fine except for over time I'm realizing she makes me incredibly insecure. I have never met her and I only know of her what other people have told me. I've seen pictures though. And, boy, is she a babe. And so mysterious. Seriously, most girls can find one little thing wrong with so's ex and write her off, dough face, oil tail, big nose, etc., but this bitch is perfect. He never talks about her unless it's to talk about something relative to conversation. Like, oh, her dad made really good food. How do I get over this weird insecurity without blurting it out and seeming like a crazy psycho bitch? I'm not normally an insecure person, but shit. I feel like a big creep. Help. Edit. We are in our mid-20s. Edit. The plot thickens. My trust in the situation has been tried on a couple occasions. For example, I came back from a week in London and he had been watching my place. I hopped on my computer and the auto history comes up in the address bar as some Facebook profile. I go and look at my history for some dumb reason only to realize that he had gone through every single picture on her Facebook profile on more than one occasion in the 5 days I was gone. Ooh. When I confronted him, he thought I was angry about the porn websites he was trying to masturbate to. Whoops, never found those in my history. I was with my ex, Thomas, about 4 years ago now. When we met I was 20 and he was 21, and we were both going through pretty rough stuff. It wasn't the best relationship, we'd both just gotten out of long-term relationships, but he was my best friend at the time, and really encouraged me to go to university that year, something I never would have done without him. I had dreams of going into publishing since I was a kid, and I found the perfect degree. We broke up in September of that year but remained really good friends. We didn't talk loads, but the one thing we both wanted to be kept updated on was each other's work and university stuff. I've been with my current boyfriend for about a year now, and they know each other fairly well. Last week I got a job I've been dying to have for years in my dream publishing house, so instinctually I decided to call my ex first because I wouldn't be in the position I'm in without him. He obviously was ecstatic and congratulated me, and then I went home to tell my boyfriend, who I live with. I told him and he didn't seem that interested, he barely even responded to me. It was really disheartening, especially after the reaction I had from my ex. We've had some fights about my ex before as he's never liked how close we are, but he doesn't understand that my ex and I dragged each other out of really bad places. He ended up saying, I don't know what reaction you wanted, I'm not Thomas, and I ended up shouting at him, maybe that's the fucking problem. He burst into tears, and I regret saying it, but he gave me absolutely no reaction. I ended up telling him that I told Thomas before I'd told him, and he flipped out, left our apartment, and didn't come home the next day. I called him and he said I'm an asshole for not telling him first, but given his reaction it's not like he actually cared. AITA?